Ladies and gentlemen, the leader of the Free National Movement, Member of Parliament for Marco City, a leader of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition, Michael Clifton Pintard. FNMs. Put your hands together for being here. Put your hands together for being in Mackey Street. If you're happy to be here, make some noise. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, party officers, Mr. Chairman, MCMs, FNMs, our esteemed leader, Michael Clifton Pintard, Mr. In Mackey Street. Keep the fire burning. I wish to just remind you, as we're here this evening, we are live and we will be recording for later rebroadcast. Please place your devices on the silent mode. If you don't know how to put it on silent, please turn it off. This is a very historic moment. (1992). If you look back at the newspapers from that era, the price of gas was certainly different. The price of food was certainly different. But just as these are trying times, that was a trying time. And so we're here to discuss and to celebrate, to recognize, and to make sure history properly reflects all that we know took place. Coming before us right now that's all right. Just a moment, please. Coming before us right now is the sixth leader of the Free National Movement, the Member of Parliament for the constituency of Marco City. Thank you, Chairman, making sure that I'm doing it correctly. Two things. My name is Safent Roll. I'm the Secretary General of the Free National Movement. And most importantly, Chairman reminded me, as we should all do, open up in prayer. Let us pray. Dear Father God, we thank you for allowing us to come into this place. We thank you, God, for this time and this season. We thank you, God, for allowing us to have our fresh memory, our memory of good times. Understanding, God, that those good times will be able to fuel our bright future. We thank you, God, for all that is about to be said and done. May it all be done in order, and may it all be to your honor and to your glory. Bless the Free National Movement. Bless the Commonwealth of the keeps the fire burning. The Member of Parliament for the great constituency of Morocco City. Leader of Her Majesty's loyal opposition. Often underestimated, but always comes up feet standing, 2 feet on the ground. He is the people's champion. He is our leader. He is leader of the Free National Movement, Michael Clifton Pintard.
Seated. The young man I introduced this evening developed a powerful reputation as someone who gets the job done. When he functioned in the other party, he was known as somebody who was focused, who was serious about the people's business, and he was the go-to man, not just for the leader of that party, but for many of its members who had needs that were often unresolved. He could have taken the easy road when the public became disaffected with that organization, and others were debating what their future would be as individuals or what the future of that organization should have been. He made a determination that given all that he had learned, that he needed to take a principled stand in terms of his political future and what he believed should have been the future of that organization. He made a determination that he was prepared to go on the road less traveled. He then joined this outstanding organization, a band of freedom fighters who had labored long years, who were subjected to so many indignities but continued to stand. In 1987, some would say we came close, we say we won. And he was embraced by talented men and women who had put in the work to prepare fertile ground. And he came in again focused with tremendous respect. So tonight I introduce to you a known Bahamian commodity with a long track record of delivering on behalf of not just people who wore yellow or people who wore red, but on behalf of all Bahamians. He ushered in a new dispensation in Bahamian politics that transformed our family islands. He developed a reputation that what he says he actually means and will do. Someone who the Bahamian people trusted. Someone who the Free National Movement trusted. So that he became the longest serving leader of our incredible party. He has remained available, mentoring our past Prime Minister, the Honorable Hubert, mentoring the Honorable Tommy Turnquest, and every leader that followed. We are grateful tonight that we have lived in the time of Hubert Alexander Ingraham. And tonight, I ask you to join me in welcoming him back home in this headquarters. I believe the first time in about 10 years. And we're grateful.
Thank you. Please be seated. Why do I have this? Oh, okay. Okay, that's okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Leader, Mr. Chairman, members of Parliament, MCMs, council members, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Lord. It's been a while, you know. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We are gathered on this 30th anniversary of the election of the F&M as the government of the Bahamas for the first time. That came about 20 years after the party. I asked them if these damn thing work. This came about 20 years after the party was formed and after 4 successive general election defeats. It is appropriate, therefore, for us on this occasion to remember those who ran on our ticket back in '92 who are no longer with us. And so I ask you to stand in a moment of silence for Ashley Cargill, Chuck Virgil, Peter Galanis, Noel Roberts, Calvin Johnson, Grenville Hanna, Allington Butler, Jimmy Knowles, Teresa Moxie, Leda Moxie Ingram, Tennyson Bells, and most recently, Brendan Simonet. Thank you. Please be seated. I feel honored to accept your kind invitation to speak to you this afternoon because this is the first time I've had the opportunity to speak to F&Ms in just over 10 years. The last time I spoke to F&M was on the 26th of May, 2012. When I spoke to F&Ms at a rally in 2017 and the Bahamian public, I did so because I volunteered to speak, not by invitation. And so I'm very pleased to be here this afternoon to speak to you. I recall most fondly that I was invited back in 1990 by all 17 of the F&M members of Parliament at the time, and virtually all of the Central Council members to join the party. They'd been persuaded by voters, by their political financiers, and by the society generally, who told them, if you want to win the next election, go and get Hubert Ingraham to join you. And so I came at the age of 42, 4 months short of my 43rd birthday. And after I came, droves of people came behind me. I had cut my teeth in the PLP. Each of the founding, so that all can understand this, each of the founding members of this organization also cut their teeth in the PLP. Every one of them. Cecil, like myself, the founding leader, was chairman of the PLP. And Sorval at one time served as a secretary general. So we all knew that party, and we knew it well. And it put us in good stead to deal with them. At that time, I had been an MP for 13 years, having won my seat in 3 consecutive general elections, twice as the PLP, the last one as an independent, after having been expelled from the PLP. And 5 years earlier, the F&M had supported my candidacy as an independent. Now, I always considered the F&M name to be well-founded, because that is what this party is, a movement with many diverse parts. We are also prone to membership that moves with the times. Sometimes members move out, and then later they return to our spheres. When we say we are a large tent that adherents to different stripes find a home with us, we are speaking quite literally. The Bahamian Democratic Party was created from amongst the F&M membership just before the 1977 general election. In that election, the F&M won 2 seats. Only 2 seats. And both of them were in Grand Bahama. Maurice Moore and Garnet Leverity. And the BDP won 6 seats. F&M only won 16% of the votes in 1977, and the BDP won 26% of the votes in 1977. That group in the BDP made their way back into the F&M before the 1982 election, and before the election of the first female member of Parliament, Dame Janet Bostwick. I tell you that story because every now and again, not now and again, often I hear Ingraham is a PLP. Well, I just want you to know, you had plenty of PLPs leading you. Now, following my stepping down as leader of the party and the contentious leadership which followed, election which followed, and the fallout of the election of Tommy Turnquest as leader, thousands of our supporters and others forsook us. But they stayed home, resulting in a massive election defeat in 2002. We won only 1 seat in New Providence in that election. That was Brent Simonet up in Montague. I was very happy that we had included torchbearers among our 92 and subsequent general elections when I was leader. It's been my hope all those years ago that when I stepped down as leader, having promised to serve only 2 consecutive terms as Prime Minister, that a former torchbearer, Tommy Turnquest, who represented youth in the party, would be elected leader and then become Prime Minister. It was therefore to my regret and great disappointment that Tommy and the party were defeated in 2002 general election. I was drafted to come back in 2005, very much against my will. In fact, there's not a soul anywhere in the Bahamas could tell you I ever asked them or suggested to them they ought to come back. Not one. I asked no one to vote for me whatsoever. I was asked if my name was put in nomination, would I accept? And I eventually said yes. And so we ran, and we won 2007. F&Ms who had stayed away in 2002 came back, and some PLPs came along too. By 2012, though, some FNMs, many of them prominent, chose to support the DNA or the PLP. In fact, some very prominent FNMs voted against the FNM in 2012, funded the DNA, campaigned against the FNM, and around here with a red shirt on saying they FNM. We lost that election, and we lost the election, and I resigned after 19 consecutive years as leader of this party. Incidentally, I'm the longest serving leader this party has ever had. 19 of your 50 years I led you. And took you to government 3 out of the 4 times you've been there. We continued the movement in 2017. Many FNMs returned to our fold. I elected the FNM for the 4th time as a government. They had a high expectation that the government they would elect in 2017 would be similar to the FNM they knew before. Less than 2 months after I joined the party in 1990, the leader of the party died. I was honored to be chosen to lead. Our mettle was tested early, and we succeeded in winning the by-election in Marco City to fill the successor's vacant seat. I recall when we came back to Nassau, so Orwell kissed the ground and said it was the first time he was able to return to Nassau a victorious person in the FNM. In 1990, at that time, the FNM's office was situated upstairs in a nondescript area at the back of a building on Shirley Street, owned by Tennis and Wells. Didn't even have a sign up to say this is the FNM headquarters. I recently told the story of the purchase of the same building when we celebrated the 50th anniversary of the Bahamas Welding and Fire. And so we've been here for 32 years. Having won the election, the finance committee, not cookouts or fundraising events, bought this building and paid cash for it back in 1993. During the 2 years before 92, we prepared the party for governance, not for opposition, because many of us had an opposition mentality. In fact, many of us still got that opposition mentality. We prepared the party for governance. For instance, you all got on red shirts. We discarded the print that came from Andros, what the name was, the Androsia print, etc. We had one single color. FNM, you red. In preparing the party for governing, we knew we didn't have to prepare them for opposition because the party knew quite well how to be an opposition party. It was quite successful. Very successful. We held no street protests. We opposed, but then we proposed. We made sure that we had a clean voters register. Sadness gave us a better and fairer shake this time. We changed the focus of the party's constitution at our November convention and made the primary, if you read the FNM constitution and you see the objectives of this party are, the first thing you will see, to elect and maintain in office a government of the Bahamas. That's what we exist for. Not to be in opposition, We are here to become the government. And we said when we became the government, we would provide caring and competent and honest government for all the people of the Bahamas, not just for F&Ms. We said we would promote accountability, high ethical standards, and dedicated efficient service to the public, all the public. And we outlined our program in Manifesto 92, a very detailed prescription for the governance of the Bahamas. We took our message everywhere. I visited every island in the Bahamas, with the exception of Raglan Island and Sweetness Key in Grand Bahama. People flocked to our ranks and to our rallies. The trade unions embraced us, so did business people. People were generous with their time and resources. We had all the funding we need to do the job. We paid the F&M election bill to the PLP after losing the election of 1987. Paid the PLP $750,000 hard cash. We paid Sir Kendall Isaac back $100,000. He had to pay Sir Lyndon for taking the public disclosure case to court. We bought this building. We paid all outstanding verified bills to the party. We had adequate resources, human and financial, to get the job done. I drove over the hill every day, every work day, on my way to this office or from this office, stopping, chatting, interacting with voters, reminding all of them all the time, as I did my manifesto. Deliverance is at hand. Now is the time. Let's get them now. We had access to an aircraft, thanks to the late John Bethel, former Abaco MP and UBP minister, which we use frequently. Sometimes on the weekend, we just take it and go to a constituency in the Family Island and spend several hours on the ground with generals and supporters. Have lunch, drive around, come back to Nassau before the end of the day. Even though I don't see the red chairs, where the red chairs are? Somebody who was some entity that was not affiliated with the F&M at all bought us hundreds of red chairs. Hundreds. They used to be in this hall. We undertook a voters registration drive. We trained workers inside and outside the poll. On the election day, we operate a communication system outside the government Batelco, which kept us in touch with the entire Bahamas. And shortly after 6 o'clock of the evening, 30 years ago, after being assured there were no major incidents and the voting is gone as expected, I approved 2 ads for the next day newspaper. One in the event we lost, and the other in the expectation that we would win. Then both were issued to the Guardian and the Tribune with instruction that they be told which would be true to run. Exhausted, I went home and to bed. I was awoken by my wife and my good friend Boogaloo, who told me, we got the government. I took a shower. The Commissioner of Police sent some policemen to my house to escort me up here. I said, well, I had to wait because I needed Sir Lyndon Pillin to call me to concede defeat. Perry Christie was his emissary, and I told Perry, I'm waiting. So he did call, he conceded, and I came and I accepted the victory. Our victory was a vindication for all of those, all of you, who'd labored so hard for so many years, many who had been victimized and denied opportunities, and who were traumatized by the 1987 election which the party expected to win. August 19 meant that we had gained the confidence of the masses, which made the party acceptable to them. We won Anstown and Baintown and Fort Fincastle, Elizabeth and Pinedale and St. Agnes and more, with new, untested candidates. And in the next election, 1997, the people of the Bahamas decided that we had done such a wonderful job in the first 5 years that they gave us more seats, more votes, and they gave us every seat in the Family Island except one. We won them all. No party has ever won all the seats like that, ever or since. Upon our election, I was the only member of the government who had previously served in the cabinet. So we were inexperienced, but we clearly articulated objectives. I like to say we didn't come to office empty-handed. We entered government with a clear agenda, goals, and programs, and we kept our promises. We said what we meant, and we meant what we said. And so on the campaign trail, we told the public that the salaries being paid to ministers and the Prime Minister was too much. We'd cut it. And when we came to office, within a matter of weeks, by October, we won in August. By October, we cut the pay of the Prime Minister by $23,000 a year. And we kept it cut for the next 4.5 years. We cut the salary of the Deputy Prime Minister by $20,000 per year, salary and allowances. We did cabinet ministers by 8,000 and MPs by 2,000. And we kept it that way for 4.5 years. And we used the money as part payment towards the Early Childhood Center on East Street. We had experienced all of the abuse that had taken place at Betelco, at BEC, and the Water Corporation. And we announced upon winning the government that we, the F&M, would not appoint any F&M MP to be chairman of any of those boards. We knew why we did that. We knew why we did that. The patronage and politics was too strong for individual MPs to withstand. And we made sure that those persons we made chairman of those boards were not members of Parliament. And we put women in the cabinet for the first time in 20 years. And we promised an accountable and transparent government. For myself, it meant that I had the opportunity to become the second youngest Prime Minister in our history, 2 weeks after my 45th birthday. That also came to mean that after 3 non-consecutive terms in office, I left office before I was 65, younger than any of my successors when they started. Christie was older than anyone, Minnis was older, and so is Brave older. And if Michael Pintard wins next time, as we expect, he wouldn't be older. He'd be about 2-3 years younger than I was when I left. We promised the Bahamas that we would govern without victimization, spite, and neglect. We called it a new era. We said we wanted a new culture in the Bahamas. We opened Parliament in the public square, broadcast the proceedings via satellite to the Bahamas and to the world, and subsequently delivered broadcasting proceedings live from the House of Assembly, gavel to gavel, becoming the first country in the Caribbean to do so. And then we proceeded to implement our agenda. You know our agenda, whether it was scholarships, whatever it was, we did, and we did so on a non-discriminatory basis. Overall, we introduced social, fiscal, and economic policies, and transparency and accountability in government affairs. We created more than 40,000 jobs between 92 2002. In fact, the 90s were the most prosperous time the Bahamas has ever had. To give you an example, when we won in 1992, the only schools that were south of Robinson Road, apart from the one original primary and Carlton Francis and the Carmichael Primary and S.C. McPherson, they were the only schools. We built 2 new schools in the South Beach area, primary schools, 1 new high school, 2 new primary schools down the Carmichael Road, and a high school, all F&M. We enhanced the environment. We enhanced the environment. We deepened democracy. We improved health services in the country. We restored our national image internationally and empowered Bahamians of modest means so they could shape their own destiny. And most importantly, we liberalized communication in the Bahamas across the board. Of course, we had some missteps. We've made some mistakes, but we own them also. But we made it manifestly better in the Bahamas. Now, regrettably, some of what we did was reversed when we were voted out of office, and even when we reinstituted them after 2007, the reversal continued thereafter. In my view, progress has been too slow in modernizing the Bahamas. And so I hope that the party will focus on what's best for the Bahamas as opposed to what's best for individuals. It's important that the public believe that you will do for them because you can feel them, that you are one of them, that you're not just trying to get straight yourself, trying to get them straight and their children straight. That's one of the reasons why I was able to give up $100,000 in salary over a 5-year period to make sure to demonstrate to the public this is the case. While I was doing that, I gave the civil servants increases in salary. Gave the policemen, teachers all increases in salary while I reduced mine. We met janitresses in the public service making $90 a week. We left them at $210 a week. And we left the Prime Minister's salary exactly where it was when we came in. Because we were focused upon people. And so, to my enduring regret, though, far too many F&Ms know, or care to know, or agree with the programs of which we won our first election on. And that, too, some around us still don't know and don't care to know. And that saddens me. Because you can only have a successful governance in the country if parties that win build upon what they did the time before. The PLP will shout from the mountaintop all the things they did. And the F&M, no. Don't talk that. It's only about what I can do now. Well, in order to build, you must build upon something. Last word on politics and winning the government. And you need to remember this. You need to remember that neither the F&M nor the PLP can win an election without the support of some people who voted for the other side the last time. So it can't be all about you. It can't be that every F&M can have a handout, I need a contract, I need a contract. Because there are other people who need contracts too. And they are taxpayers also. Make the F&M what we said we would be. We said, we're going to be different from the PLP. Distinctively different. We're not going to do the same things they did. And we're going to demonstrate to you that we are the party that should be your choice. And so I invite you to work towards becoming the government once again. Thank you very much.
You comfortable? Good evening, everyone. Anthony Newbold here. And for those who don't know, I'm going to tell you, just hold on a second. I spent the last 17 years of my corporate life at ZNS, 14 of them interviewing 226 of the people who built the Bahamas. You would understand then that this is a special privilege for me because I never got to interview this esteemed gentleman. I've been told that I have a few minutes to interview him and then you're going to be able to jump in and ask your own questions, okay? Mr. Ingraham, first of all, thank you for agreeing to let me do this interview.
The Bahamian people had made me confident that we were going to win, and it was only a matter of time for the polls to close and the votes to be counted.
No trepidation because you're going up against this political giant who...
None whatsoever. Had him in my sight.
You had him in your sight. You knew you were going to win, but you thought you would win. You had some special pressure. This is your first general election as leader of the Free National Movement. There's been a lot of groundwork. People are upset. You know the conditions at that time. Any special pressure? You got to win this.
No, well, the question was, I understood I had one shot, one opportunity, one chance. And I could not miss. And I would not miss.
So in your mind, if, God forbid, you had lost the election,
I would have resigned. I came to win.
any challenge deciding on who your slate would be?
Yes, we did have challenges because, we wanted to change, and we did change, many of the previous candidates in the party, and we brought forth more than half of the candidates were, relatively speaking, new candidates. And the party supported us in doing that. We made some enemies. Some of them still exist, my enemies now. But the party brought me in to win the election, and I told them what I thought we needed to do, and they supported me, and we did what we had to do.
Yeah. You and progressively the F&M got better. 82, 31,000 votes. 87, 39,000 votes. 1992, 68,000 votes. Any surprise in any way? Did the performance in 87 give you a special sense of, yeah, we're on the way, we could do this?
Well, you know, the election in 87, many people expected the F&M to win,
Yes.
including myself. They had large crowds and whatnot, etc. This is only my opinion now, so F&M may not agree with me. What I discovered was that I don't think that the F&M did as much of the ground. Well, first of all, the PLP played some tricks. I accept that.
Yes.
But apart from the tricks, I don't think the F&M did as much of the groundwork as they needed to do in advance. For instance, on election day, the Nassau Guardian was running the register, and people were lined up at the Guardian to try to get the voters registered. So you had no means of knowing for certain who were registered to vote and who were not registered to vote, as an example.
Yeah.
Also, there was confusion about constituency lines, as whether you should be on this side or the other side, etc. And so there was also the allegation that some people voted more than once. So we had all of that background in 90 to work with and to ensure that those same things didn't happen again.
And those, if you're looking at that day, the particular lesson or lessons to be learned from the importance of groundwork and reading the electorate in order to win a general election.
Plus we had plenty supporters. Plenty people came forward to work. Plenty people. We even had what they call a dollar day. We won the street. We raised money. Money was not an issue. People were not in it. Was not an issue in terms of working.
Yeah.
What we needed was the people to believe that, listen, Hubert Ingraham and them care about people like me. That if I had an opportunity to speak to that man, that he would help me. And so I'm going with him. I hear him saying all the time that the PLP like to cuss Bay Street over the hill in the night and out in town with their hand in their pocket all day during daylight hours. This man don't look like that kind of man. And they had confidence in me.
Yeah. You become prime minister, and again, we know the circumstances at that time.
Yeah.
You're prime minister. What is your biggest challenge? What do you have to do to make this thing successful?
First of all, you bear in mind, you know, I had a party and a group that had never been governed before.
Right.
I had many party supporters who had labored in the vineyard for many, many years, who had high expectations. And we had a country that was on its knees in terms of the financial situation. We had high levels of unemployment. The central bank had put in place a requirement that you had to have a certain percent of money before you could borrow money from the bank.
Yes.
The government had lots of bills it couldn't pay. Investment flow was limited. You know, somebody, I told Mr. Pillin he did it, but he laughed and said, no, he didn't do it. But somebody put in the newspaper a big ad that said, looking for a job? Hubert Ingraham. See his number here? When I used to get to the office in the morning, mostly women.
Okay.
Oh, they would descend upon me. I ain't working, I ain't this, etc., etc. You know, it was really rough. It was really rough. Really rough, you know. You see those ladies out there, I'll finish now. Those ladies out there, hair braiders.
Yes.
Hair braiders. When I used to go downtown for cabin on Tuesday morning, they used to come running. Police behind them. They got a milk carton. Oh, Prime Minister, the police chasing me. They were in front of these people's places trying to sell their fare, their services, etc. It was rough. It was very rough.
It was. Government in the sunshine. You open in Parliament Square, and that's all about accountability and transparency. For the first time, you said to your PSs, the permanent secretaries, you talked to the press. That didn't last too long, though.
Well, you know, we tried to introduce a new culture in the Bahamas, and in some respects, we succeeded. But in many respects, we did not succeed. There was great resistance to change.
Yes.
People still thought they had to check with an MP to see whether they could get a scholarship or whether or not they get a business license, because they didn't accept initially that a new day had come. But many things did change, and many people did respond. The PLP has now called back to work 14 retired permanent secretaries. I dare say the majority of them were persons who became permanent secretary on the F&M watch.
Yeah.
That only goes to show you that the F&M promoted Bahamians, irrespective of their politics.
Yeah, yeah. You look back at your time in government, in governance. Can you say this was my greatest accomplishments, or there are several of them?
No. I operate on this basis. Every day of my life, I try to do something to help somebody. And I did that. I still do that now, every day. So I don't know what is greatest or not, but I help lots of people. And they rewarded me. They elected me to office at a very young age, and they kept me there. I got elected to the House Assembly 8 consecutive times for the same constituency. Twice as a PLP, once as an independent, and 5 times in F&M in the same constituency.
The world obviously has changed. Geopolitics being what it is, especially with the young people, they think differently than we do. Technology is changing how people approach what they do. What's your advice to the youngsters like Lincoln Deal who want to be leaders going forward, coming into politics?
Who want to be an MP down in Minnesota constituency? I listened carefully to his speech at the convention when Mr. Pintard was elected, and I thought his head was headed in the right direction. So I don't think I need to get any special advice.
No, Lincoln, you just happen to be there. And I said, there's Lincoln, right? I didn't mean to cause you any extra pressure. You just got to work harder, my brother.
Take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you. You know, I am the best example. I came from Abaco, a barefoot boy. I met my father the first time I was 11 years of age. And I rose to become Prime Minister. I was able to stand up and tell Mr. Pindling what I had on my mind, get fired by him, go and get elected, and end up as Prime Minister of the Bahamas.
Let me ask you about your relationship just a bit with Sir Lyndon. Somebody was talking to me and they said, you know, what I remember about Mr. Ingraham was, and this will tell you how old they are, they said that was like Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay. Some young people in here thinking, who's Sonny Liston and Cassius Clay, right? Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, Thriller in Manila. I think that's more apt. You went at him.
No, you got to bear in mind, you know, I had a very good relationship with Pindling, you know. I had no desire to become chairman of the PLP. I went to the PLP convention in 1976. Well, no. In 1972, before the election, Sherilyn Boodle had gotten an accident, Abaco, and the question was whether or not he was going to be able to continue. And some people suggested to me that you better go talk to Mr. Pinlan, because they thought I should run. I went to see him. I told him I wasn't ready to go. He told me that, when the opportunity comes, you have to take it, otherwise we'll move on. Well, Boodle did run, did win the election. I managed his campaign in Abaco in 72. That was Mr. Pinlan's suggestion. And in 76, I went to PLP convention. As a delegate, I became a council member for North Abaco. And he came up to me and said, I understand you're interested in being chairman. And I said, no, me not. I said, I'm interested in becoming the MP for Cooperstown. He said, it's even better for you.
Yeah.
The next thing I know is I got nominated. He supported me, and I won.
Talking about your accomplishments and the things that you did, new mindset, new approach to governance, local government was certainly, it was a new paradigm. Hasn't taken off the way you anticipated.
No, because people don't like to give up power. You got to bear in mind that you can be the prime minister, but you can't get everything done you want done.
Yeah.
And many other people, other persons, have a say in what happens. And why would the minister sit down and give up the power to fix the road and do this and the other thing, and the minister of health and the others? And so you take what you can get. That's the best we could have done.
Yeah. At least it's still.
And of course, what we did, the PLP came along, and they clawed back some of the things we did.
Yeah.
And when the FNM won in 2017, they didn't do a damn thing about it.
I'm going to let y'all get in now with your questions. Scale of 1 to 10, if you will. How have we managed this country since majority rule? How far do we have to go?
We made lots of progress in the Bahamas. We made lots of progress. We made mistakes. The PLP did a lot of good. The FNM did a lot of good. We made some mistakes. We made lots of progress. In terms of the administration of the government and public services, etc., we've fallen down in many respects. We have so politicized the employment of people that we no longer seek to get the best talent to do particular jobs. And so we end up in a position where things having to be done over and over by people who are not competent to do it because of politics.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for us, until we can overcome that, services are going to continue to deteriorate in the Bahamas.
I promise you this is my last question. You led this party for 19 years, had it clicking, running, functioning, all engines, pistons firing. What does Michael Pintard and the rest of the executives have to do, and the party, to get clicking the way you were in 92?
No, they've got the people. The people out there, the people know the FNM. The people who've seen the FNM before. They just got to demonstrate to the people of the Bahamas that the good governance they remember that the FNM gave, that this is going to be returned, that they are committed and they are devoted, that they are selecting candidates who are interested in doing good for people, etc. And they're not going to do foolishness. I have to say this. I said it up there. We determined, for good reason, that we would not make MPs chairman of public utility companies. Yet still, we went and made Adrian Gibson executive chairman of Water and Sewage Corporation. And now we got all kind of egg over our face. All we had to do was say, I wonder why they did that. Just to talk to somebody. You know, talk to me, talk to Tommy, talk to anybody and say, why did you all do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My one regret was that when the FNM won in 2017, that I did not have an opportunity to speak to all of those new ministers who were being appointed for the first time, who'd never been in government before, because I was not invited to speak.
Yeah.
I think I could have helped them.
Talking about that, and I know I keep promising. Talking about that, you won the election, and you brought in somebody, I think, from Barbados to talk to the new MPs.
Yes, we did, and we also brought in I forgot his name, Brathwaite. Yeah, he was the clerk of the Parliament. But we also used people like Paul Adley and Clement Baynard and other folks in those to come and talk to our group. All these new fellows we got here.
Yeah.
We didn't try to make it a political thing. We wanted to make sure they got information, experienced people talking to them about how government functions and whatnot, etc.
Okay. We have a microphone out there for people who want to ask a question, or you're going to have to walk up here. Somebody wants to ask a question?
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, ma'am. Hi.
Good evening, Mr. Ingram. Welcome back to Mackey Street.
Well, you know, I was the man that caused you to have the space.
Mr. Ingram, we talked about how the country could have changed had some things been different. I think in Small Hope Lodge, during the Pindling administration, the composition of the cabinet and the backbench changed, which means there was a shift of power. We've talked about prime ministers being all-powerful. We've seen what happened in the UK with Theresa May and now with Boris Johnson. Is there a place in this Bahamas, other than what we had in 2017 and what Brave Davis has today, that it get changed to the Pindling era where the cabinet was smaller than the backbench, because that seemed to have been a check on power? Thank you.
Well, you know, one of the challenges of governing the Bahamas is that there's this massive swing in terms of you either get beat bad or you win plenty seats. When we won in 1992, I had no difficulty in determining I was going to have 13 ministers, 3 of whom were going to be appointed, and only 10 were coming from the House of Assembly. Never mind, I had 32 seats. But I was at the height of my influence and authority, and I could get away with that. Now, when we won in 1997 and got more people, etc., I didn't have that same kind of authority. I had to expand the base, bring more people in. That's reality. You know, that's the reality. You know, but what is more important is for political parties to not allow things to go on without speaking up. You know, you come to the council, and in my time, most of the times people are talking about something that somebody didn't get or whatever it was, etc. Nobody is talking about policies. Nobody is talking about what should happen to the community or the rest of it, etc. So that you can get into how the government is functioning or otherwise. You can hear, you can get from MPs, what are your frustrations? Why can't you get this done? So-and-so has told me they've been trying to get this done in their constituency. What's the problem, Prime Minister? What's the problem with this? But you didn't do that. When you came here, generally speaking, it's like a choir. Hail to the chief. Hail to the chief. That's reality. You know, you have to become a political party. Secondly, you have to become political party. Secondly, you know, and you know, this is my view. The FNM is allowing itself to become ungovernable. This place here ought to be a place where you can hold a council meeting. Well, you got so many bloody council members who are officers, who are MCMs, who are this, etc. You can't hold one here. And how you can get something done with all those people? You gotta go, you can't just say I can have 200 more MCMs and whatnot. Everybody got to vote. That's not how to run a party. The PLP did that foolishness, and you chasing behind them. But you'd get accountability if you, the members of the executive, the members of the council, ask questions, put forward suggestions, etc., etc. You'll find that more and more things will happen for you. Otherwise, you'll just have a meeting and that's just move on, you know?
We got another question out there? Over there? You got a mic over there? Or you have a big mouth? Go ahead. Oh, you got... Go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Ingram and Mr. Newbold. My name is Jay Sprainin. I'm 26 years old. And I learned so much about Free National Movement history because of the discussion that happened tonight. I'm very thankful for that. But a lot of what was discussed tonight, I didn't learn in school. And I find that a lot of our political education in school is very limited. It's about who won what election, who became what minister. So the question that I would like to ask to former Prime Minister Ingraham, if he could describe it, how would you describe the political philosophy of the FNM, particularly as it compares to the PLP? We talked a lot about differences tonight, but I'm curious to know your perspective on where that biggest philosophical difference lies.
The FNM that I led was less interventionist than the PLP. It believed less in government ownership of things in the economy than the PLP did, and believed in broadening the economic base of the country. For instance, we made it our business to make sure shares and profitable enterprises were made available to Bahamians. The PLP believed that, no, the government should own it. We left 10% of the shares in Batelco to be sold to the public, and we got fired in 2012. PLP didn't do it. The FNM didn't do it. The new cellular company was supposed to be significantly owned by the general public of the Bahamas, as is BTC. 40% is owned by the 49% by the government. We were going to sell 9%, not 10, 9% to the public, and we were going to we announced a program that we're going to move our shares down the line and make more and more available to the general public. We did the port at Arawaki, and we made, it's the largest single entity where Bahamians own shares, the port down there. The PLP always talk bad about it because they say that we gave Bay Street the port. Well, Bay Street owned all the ports in town. We said, no, we'd create one port. You could own 40%, the government owns 40%, and 20% belongs to the public. But yet they tell the public, oh, they gave it to the Bay Street boys. So I don't know what the differences are nowadays, but you know, because honestly, because the differences between the FNM and the PLP became more and more difficult to design during the last FNM administration than before. That's the reality, you know. I never knew. What I did know is that they were more likely to go against what we had done before, and more likely to do what the PLP had done than they did with us.
Thank you, sir. Another question? We got 3 more, so the slots are going. You done? Some final words, Mr. Ingram, before you leave us.
Yes, I'm happy to be here, and I told the leader that I'm available to assist whenever he needs me. I told the previous leader that. I'm not going to get in anybody's business. I'm not looking for any work to be done. If you need me to help you with anything, I'll be happy to do so. I wish you the very best. And no, I have not gone back to the PLP. All right. So keep going. and do the best you can. If things work the way they have worked before, and you keep yourself together, chances are that you will become the government next time. You know, I'm going to end with this. I told the leader that, I have a general in Abaco. His name is Edward Boodle. He was with me from the very beginning. And he left the PLP to come with me and all that kind of stuff. He called me and he said, listen, Hubert, tell those boys, just hold their head and stick together. Because you and I know the PLP will F up. Thank you very much.
Initial picture, and then we'll go to. Thank you, guys.